what brought you to the Maine Wild?
Well, when I decided to make the transition from high school hockey to junior hockey, I wasn't really sure where I would fit in. I wasn't really sure at what level that I could compete at, and talking with my goalie coach, this kind of seemed to be the right league of where I was talent-wise at the end of the summer. And having the team be in your hometown is always nice. I didn't have to travel far for tryouts, and I have a 10-minute drive to the rink, and I get a home-cooked meal every night. So.
You were the standout goaltender in high school at Biddeford High School, and to my knowledge, also with the Biddeford Sharks, the youth program here. But at the junior level, there, like you said, there's been more competition. You're competing against two other netminders, and you are the backup goalie right now. How have you handled that?
I think I've handled it pretty well. I think my attitude towards the game kind of helps me kind of take everything in stride. Probably the best way to put it. Because, like you said, I was the number one at my high school. Halfway through sophomore year, I got the number one spot, and then just kind of ran with it. There was never really competition. I was just kind of known as the number one kid there. And that, kind of worked to an advantage and a disadvantage. A little bit, you get a little bit too comfortable at times, and you lose your sharpness. And I think I suffered from that at the beginning of the year, that I went from just knowing when I would show up to a high school practice that, you could flip a switch and you could become a lights-out goalie if it needed to happen, where at this level, that switch always has to be on.
You've been seeing the ice a lot more recently, though, and so far so good. You're 2-0, 3 appearances, a goal against average a little over 2, and a 93 save percentage. Do you feel like you've made the adjustment to the junior level in the little time that you have seen?
I think it's something I've worked on with my goalie coach, and there were certain aspects of my game that I needed to change. Like, for instance, I was always in scramble mode. I was never calm, cool, and collective, which you kind of have to be as a goalie at this level. If I gave up a rebound to the opposite side of the net, I was diving instantly instead of pushing over and going back to my fundamentals, because the game was so much quicker. So just the speed was the biggest adjustment part, but I think, after, months of practice, and I was unfortunate enough, I had a little bit of a bad injury streak where I didn't even skate for 2 weeks. So just kind of watching those practices and watching games, you kind of understand the game flow a little bit better, and I just can read plays better now. And that was the biggest jump, was just being calm, cool, and collective, and being able to read the plays differently than you do in high school.
Brad Perry said today in practice that you're one of the funnier guys on the team, and Keith Barnaby knew you'd be a good person to take part in last week's poking fun at the coaches. So let me turn one of last week's questions around. What are some of the funny fieldisms or the expressions that you say out there, keeping it, of course, PG?
Yeah, I don't know, I think that's kind of the role as the backup guy. If you're the backup and you're uptight and you're yelling at kids and telling them to do something wrong, you're the kid sitting on the bench, you're the kid that hasn't touched the ice. But I don't repeat much.
Sure.
One of the things I have been saying this week is that's the difference between me and you. When someone says something, whether they forget something or did something well, I just throw that out there. It's little one-liners. I never,
and
then
to keep things loose.
Yeah, that's good. And I think certain times I think Teddy's come to me. Like there was one weekend here we were going into the third period of just a game on Sunday, and we were down, and we had one Saturday, and he goes, well, kind of get the guys going. So I skated on the ice with a broom and got ready for the weekend sweep, and we ended up winning in the third period. So just little things like that can kind of loosen the mood. And I think part of playing hockey at this level is you have to realize, you're out here to improve yourself and you're out here for your team, but at the same time, we play hockey every day of the week, and that's the best thing you can be doing.